Imagine this. You stand in front of her, her eyes searching yours, and in one moment, a single word escapes your lips. Her body shifts, her guard melts, and you feel the invisible wall between you collapse. Words are not just sounds, they are switches. The right ones unlock emotions buried deep inside the female heart. The wrong ones close doors, sometimes forever. Men underestimate words. They think looks, status, or wealth hold all the power. But a single word, spoken with weight and precision, can do more than hours of compliments or endless chasing. The female brain is wired to respond to particular emotional triggers, and some words act like keys that fit those hidden locks perfectly. This is not about trickery. This is not about spitting out lines like a script. This is about understanding the raw architecture of attraction. Once you understand how the female mind processes emotion and meaning, you'll realize why 5 simple words, delivered with the right energy, can captivate a woman more than gifts, flowers, or even confessions of love. Today, we will go deep into those 5 words. Each word carries psychological weight. Each word awakens a dormant part of her emotional system. Each word bypasses logic and strikes at the center of her instincts. When you use them, you'll see a shift. Her breath changes, her eyes linger, and her presence softens. But here's the truth. Power lies not just in the word itself, but in how you deliver it. A word thrown casually is nothing but sound. A word dropped at the right time is fire. So, listen carefully. Pay attention, because by the end of this journey you'll carry 5 weapons so sharp they can slice straight through her defenses. Let's begin with the first word. This word is ancient, primal, and it never fails to reach the core of a woman's being when used with authenticity. It is not clever, it is not fancy, but it is devastating when delivered correctly. The first word is now. Simple, too simple. No, now is urgency. Now is presence. Now tells her without negotiation that this moment belongs to both of you. The human brain responds to immediacy. When you say, now, you eliminate hesitation, you erase the past, and you collapse the future into one electric second. Women respond deeply to presence. They crave men who stand in the moment rather than drift in anxiety or projection. When you say, now, you anchor her to you. Imagine saying softly in her ear, look at me now. Imagine holding her gaze and whispering, right now, it's just us. You see how it pulls her inward. It bypasses thought and drags her into sensation. Science confirms it. Adrenaline spikes when urgency enters a conversation. That spike is what makes her pulse quicken. That spike is what makes her knees weaken. It's not manipulation. It's biology. And now is the trigger. But there is a rule. Never overuse it. Now loses its force if tossed carelessly. You must drop it when silence hangs heavy, when her attention is halfway slipping, or when you want to intensify intimacy. Delivered with calm certainty, now is irresistible. Delivered nervously, it dies before it lands. Try this. Instead of saying, I'll tell you later, say, I'll tell you now. Instead of, we should do that someday, say, we'll do it now. Notice the difference. One drifts into vagueness. The other ignites immediacy. She feels it in her body before her mind even processes the meaning. And here is where most men fail. They think attraction is built by planning for the future, by talking about what they'll do one day. But the female brain is not stirred by distant promises. It is stirred by the intensity of presence. Now is that presence condensed into one word. Understand this. Now is not just timing. Now is dominance without aggression. It's certainty without arrogance. It's the ability to pull her into a moment she cannot resist. And when her body surrenders to the present, her mind follows. This is why now is the first word in our arsenal. It sets the frame. It establishes immediacy. It clears the air of doubt, hesitation, and delay. And once she feels it, once her body obeys that command of urgency, you unlock the door to deeper words, heavier words, words that shape her desire in ways she cannot explain. We will move forward. The next word carries a different weight. If now collapses time into presence, the next word opens a door she always hopes a man will see, but few ever do. If the first word, now, awakens urgency and presence, the second word strikes deeper. It pierces insecurity, silences doubt, and gives her something she rarely receives in a world full of judgment. That word is enough. Simple, yes, but devastating when spoken with truth. A woman carries invisible burdens, standards pushed on her, comparisons made against her, expectations whispered by society. She feels she has to be prettier, smarter, sweeter, more successful, more everything. Rarely does she feel enough. When a man looks into her eyes and says, "You are enough," he touches the raw nerve hidden beneath all her defenses. Attraction is not only fire and excitement, it is safety, the kind that softens her body and makes her lean in closer. The female mind bonds when it feels seen and valued without condition. Enough is that bond in one word. Think about this. Men often throw compliments carelessly. You're beautiful, you're cute, you're sexy. But those words aim at the surface. They target the outer shell she shows to the world. Enough cuts deeper. It tells her that who she already is, without makeup, without performance, without effort, is worthy. And when you strike there, you bypass vanity and speak directly to her soul. Here is the secret. Women often don't believe their beauty. They downplay it. They dismiss praise. Why? Because compliments on beauty compete with every mirror, every magazine, every filtered photo on her feed. But enough has no competition. Enough doesn't compare her to anyone. Enough is acceptance in its purest form. But remember, delivery is everything. Whisper you are enough when she confesses her fears. Say it calmly when she doubts herself. Murmur it when she hides her face and says she's not good enough. That is when the word detonates. That is when her walls collapse. When you use this word with true presence, something subtle but powerful happens. Her breath slows. Her body softens. The shield she holds against the world falls. And in that moment, you are no longer just a man in front of her. You are the anchor she didn't know she needed. This is not manipulation. This is recognition. Attraction is not just desire. It is resonance. A woman resonates with a man who can name the truth she secretly longs to believe but cannot say to herself. Enough does that. But there is danger to if you say it without presence, without authenticity. It becomes empty. She will feel it. Women are radar for false comfort. If you do not believe your own words, if you toss them like shallow praise, she will pull away. So, practice presence first. Look into her eyes. See her fully, without judgment. Only then say, you are enough. Not too often, not too loud. Not in every moment, but in the exact second when her doubt rises. That's when the word lands with the weight of truth. From a neurological perspective, here is what happens. The brain's fear center, the amygdala, quiets down when reassurance feels authentic. At the same time, oxytocin, the bonding hormone, surges. Her body literally tells her this is safety. Stay close. Attraction is not always built on excitement. Sometimes, it's built on deep safety, and enough is the word that unlocks it. Picture this moment. She sighs, frustrated, saying, I'm just not good at this. Most men respond with solutions or dismissals. You'll get better, or don't worry about it. But you pause, lock eyes and say, you are enough. She feels seen. She feels accepted. And in that moment, her chest warms, her knees soften, her guard breaks. Never underestimate the force of this word. A woman may crave adventure, mystery, and excitement, but beneath all of that, her greatest craving is to feel she is already enough for the man she lets close. When you give her that, her heart binds to you, sometimes before she even realizes it. So, we now hold two keys. The first, now pulls her into presence and intensity. The second, enough dissolves her fear of inadequacy and replaces it with belonging. Together, these words awaken both fire and safety, the perfect duality of attraction. But we are not done, because, while presence and reassurance matter, desire needs something more. Desire thrives on curiosity, on a touch of danger, on the electricity of the unknown. And the third word delivers exactly that. The third word is not soft, it is not safe. It is sharp, provocative, and irresistible when whispered at the right time. If now is the spark and enough is the anchor, then the next word is the flame that keeps her chasing. We have already armed ourselves with two powerful words. Now locks her into the urgency of presence. Enough anchors her into deep acceptance. But attraction does not survive on presence and safety alone. Desire feeds on curiosity. It thrives in the unknown. It grows wild when a man opens the door to possibility. That is why the third word is imagine. This single word is a portal. It pulls her out of ordinary conversation and hurls her into a vivid dreamscape. The female mind responds to story, vision, and possibility. Where logic drives men, imagination drives women. When you say, imagine, you bypass her conscious filter and trigger the same mental process that dreams activate. She stops listening to what is and begins feeling what could be. Think of this carefully. Most men bore women with facts, explanations, and dry details. But the man who says, imagine this, instantly separates himself. He paints visions she can see, hear, and feel. And here is the secret. When her imagination stirs, her emotions follow. When you whisper, imagine us walking through the city at midnight, no one else around. She feels the cool air, the thrill, the closeness. When you murmur, imagine how good it would feel if you let go. She doesn't just hear words. Her body reacts. The human brain struggles to separate imagined experience from real experience. That is why imagine is irresistible. But it's more than fantasy, it is leadership. Women crave men who guide them into new experiences, both real and emotional. Imagine is the verbal bridge between the ordinary world and the extraordinary. When you use it, you lead her into a frame of your choosing. She steps into your vision. She begins to live inside your story. Listen to the rhythm of it. Imagine demands her participation. It forces her to create the scene in her mind. And here lies the brilliance. She is not just hearing you. She is co-creating with you. And the more she invests her imagination, the more she invests her emotions. Now, you must master the art of when to drop this word. Drop it when conversation turns stale. Drop it when you want to escalate intimacy. Drop it when you want to create an experience no other man has given her. But never abuse it. If you say imagine and then describe something dull, you waste its magic. It must always lead to sensation, emotion, or mystery. There is a psychological truth here. The female nervous system is wired for anticipation. Desire is not just the moment, it is the build-up. Imagine elongates that anticipation. It stretches her curiosity. It creates a loop in her mind that begs to be closed. And you, the man who opened it, become the only one who can close it. Here is an example. Most men say, we should go out sometime. Flat, lifeless, forgotten. But if you look at her and say, imagine us sitting somewhere hidden, just the two of us, no one knowing where we are. You don't just suggest a meeting, you create a world. She doesn't forget that. Her mind replays it. Her body reacts. Another layer. Imagine is subtle seduction. It gives her permission to feel desire without you forcing it. You are not telling her what she feels. You are inviting her to picture it herself. And when she pictures it, she owns it. She cannot resist what her own mind paints. But like the earlier words, authenticity is vital. Do not speak imagine like a magician selling tricks. Speak it as a man already halfway inside the dream himself. If you feel it, she will feel it. If you just recite it, it dies. From a neurological perspective, imagine lights up the brain's sensory cortex. She doesn't just hear it, activates touch, sound, taste, and vision. That's why her knees weaken. That's why her breath shifts. You are not speaking to her ears. You are speaking to her nervous system. Understand this. Women chase feelings more than facts. Imagine delivers feelings before they exist in reality. It creates a taste of a future moment, and that taste lingers long after words fade. And when she cannot shake the image, she cannot shake you. So now we hold 3 weapons. Now pulls her into your presence. Enough dissolves her insecurity. Imagine awakens her desire for possibility. Together they form the rhythm of attraction, urgency, safety, and curiosity. But there are still 2 words left. And the 4th word is dangerous. It does not comfort. It does not reassure. It destabilizes her. It shakes her frame. And that is exactly why it works. The 4th word forces her to reveal herself, to drop her mask, and to lean into you or lose you. It is a word that no weak man can say, but every strong man must master. We've moved through presence with now, safety with enough, and imagination with imagine. These 3 words build attraction, but attraction without depth is fragile. To truly captivate a woman, you must shake her foundation, pierce her defenses, and make her reveal the truths she hides from everyone else. That is why the 4th word is why. Why is not casual. Why is a blade. It cuts through surface answers and forces her into vulnerability. Most people live behind rehearsed responses, stories polished for strangers. But when you look into her eyes and ask why, with calm certainty you strip away her masks, you expose the raw core of her being. For example, she says, I don't trust Isley. Most men nod or change the subject. But you lean in and ask, why? Suddenly, she must go deeper. She must reveal the wound behind her words. And here is the secret. Women long for men who can hold their vulnerability without flinching. When you ask why, you demand that truth. This word is powerful because it disrupts the rhythm. Normal conversations float on the surface. What do you do? Where are you from? What do you like? Shallow waters. But why drags her into the depths? It makes her confront feelings she rarely voices. And when she shares those feelings with you, she bonds with you. Think carefully. Intimacy is not built from endless chatter. Intimacy is built from shared secrets, from revelations, from the courage to expose what hurts. Why is the key that unlocks that door. But here's the warning, never use why like an interrogation. It must be steady, grounded, patient, a calm gaze, a quiet tone. Then the question, why? If you ask it with judgment, she will retreat. If you ask it with openness, she will unfold. And the moment she unfolds, the dynamic shifts. She stops performing, she stops testing, she starts trusting. Few men ever reach this stage, because few men have the courage to hold the silence that follows the word why. But if you hold it, she will fill it. And in filling it, she will show you her true self. Consider this, she says. I don't like players. Most men would laugh it off or defend themselves. But you ask, why? She hesitates. Then she admits something about betrayal, heartbreak, disappointment. In that moment, she relives her pain. And you are the man strong enough to face it with her. That is how bonds form. Not through flattery, through exposure. This is why makes her knees weak, not because it flatters, not because it excites, but because it forces her to be real. And once she is real, once she reveals herself, attraction is no longer shallow. It is carved into her with depth and permanence. Psychology confirms it. Vulnerability creates intimacy. The act of revealing something personal triggers oxytocin, the same bonding hormone that deepens trust. When she tells you her truth, she unconsciously ties that emotional release to you, and the key that unlocked it. A simple, steady why. But tread carefully. You must balance depth with lightness. Too much intensity too soon can overwhelm her. Know when to release pressure, when to shift back to laughter or play. But always remember, one well-placed why is worth more than hours of surface-level talk. Here is the hidden power. Why does not just reveal her, it reveals you. A weak man avoids depth. A strong man welcomes it. By asking why, you demonstrate courage, leadership, and presence. She sees you as the rare man who does not fear truth, and that alone separates you from the countless men who only skim the surface. Picture this moment. She says, "I don't think I'm ready." Instead of retreating, you softly ask, "Why?" She exhales. She pauses. She feels the weight of the question. Her body responds, not with distance, but with closeness, because deep down, she wants to reveal, she wants to be seen, and you gave her permission. So now, we hold 4 words. Now anchors her in presence. Nuff dissolves her insecurity. Imagine awakens her desire, and why pierces her mask. With these 4, you already wield influence most men never touch. But the final word, the 5th, unites them all. It is the seal. It is the word that transforms attraction into surrender. This last word is not flashy. It is not complex. It is simple, primal, and when spoken with the right energy, it disarms her completely. We've journeyed through presence, safety, imagination, and depth. Each word builds a layer of attraction that makes her lean in closer, but attraction, no matter how strong, remains incomplete without belonging. At the end of the path, a woman does not just want excitement or acceptance, she wants connection. That is why the final word is ours. Ours is possession without control, intimacy without chains. It is the word that transforms two individuals into one shared world. When you say ours, you shift her frame from me and you into us. And that shift is powerful, because belonging is one of the deepest female desires. Think carefully. Most men speak in fragments. My place, your idea, my plan, everything divided. But when you say, our moment, our secret, our night, you weave her into something bigger. She no longer feels like a visitor in your life. She feels like she belongs in it. Here is the brilliance of ours. It takes the fire of now, the reassurance of enough, the mystery of imagine, and the depth of why, and binds them into permanence. Ours is the seal that closes the circle. It is not just attraction, it is attachment. Picture this. Instead of saying, that was fun, you lean in and whisper, that's our memory now. Instead of saying, this is my favorite spot, you smile and say, this is our spot. Subtle shift, massive impact. She feels claimed, chosen, bound to you, not through force but through shared identity. Women crave this, deep inside. They want to belong to something greater than themselves. Ours provides that. It tells her she is not just passing through your world, she is part of it. And once she feels that, once she hears that, her resistance fades. But again, timing matters. Do not drop ours too early, or it sounds like false intimacy. The soil must be prepared. Presence must be established. Insecurity dissolved, imagination awakened, and depth explored. Only then does ours carry its full weight. Used too soon, it rings hollow. Used at the right moment, it engraves itself into her heart. From a psychological perspective, ours activates the bonding instinct. Humans are tribal by nature. We long to belong. For women, this instinct is magnified, because belonging signals safety and partnership. Ours is a trigger that shifts her subconscious from uncertainty to attachment. And when attachment sets in, attraction transforms into loyalty. Imagine the scene. She laughs, and you say, that's our joke now. She shares a fear, and you respond, that's our secret. These subtle moments accumulate, weaving a net of belonging so strong she doesn't want to escape. And here is the truth. Once a woman feels ours, she does not chase others, she stays. But as with all words, authenticity is law. If you use ours without meaning it, she will feel the lie. Do not claim what you do not embody. Speak it only when you are ready to stand behind it. A false bond is worse than no bond, but a true one, irresistible. So here we are. 5 words, 5 weapons, each one simple, yet each one forged with the fire of psychology and the architecture of desire. Now, the urgency of presence, enough the bomb of acceptance. Imagine the spark of curiosity. Why? The blade of depth in ours. The seal of belonging. Master these words, not as tricks, but as truths. Speak them with presence, with intent, with energy, and you will feel the shift. Women will not only hear you, they will feel you. And when a woman feels you, her body, her mind, and her desire align. Remember, words are not just sounds. They are signals, they are triggers, they are keys to doors hidden in the female heart. Most men speak without power. You will not. You will speak as one who understands that every syllable is a weapon, every word a world. Now the choice is yours. You can return to speaking like every other man. Safe, shallow, forgettable. Or you can wield these 5 words and watch as women respond in ways they cannot control, because their bodies, their emotions, their instincts already answered for them. The power has always been there. Now, it belongs to you. Join the Brotherhood by subscribing to the Inner Citadel.